date on this because it's not going to be the name of a section, 11.4.13. Solving equations with just and x squared in them. And we've done some of the harder problems. We did the factoring, solving by factoring, and now we're going to do something a little, instead of doing the easier first, we're doing the easier last. This is actually the easier ones to do. What I'm going to put on here so far if an equation is in the form dot 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 x squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, we solve by what? Factoring. Correct? 2, if it's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, we also what? Solve by what? Solve by factor. Third type we're going to talk about today is if it's in the form ax squared equal to a number. In other words, just an x squared term. We'll say just x squared terms. There's no other terms but the x squared. This is what we're doing today. We'll talk about another type tomorrow. You solve this type the same way you solved an equation with just x's in it. Example. You're going to put these side by side. Example 1. 3x plus 4 is equal to 16. Example 2. 3x squared plus 4 is equal to 16. At the end of this, put except at the end. Everybody gets caught up there. I want you to put your pencils down, and I want you to watch me solve each of these. everybody put your pencils down, pay attention over here. I don't want you writing yet. To solve this one, what would you guys say I would do first? What'd you say? Subtract what?
-4.
I would subtract 4 from both sides. Would everyone agree? I'll be left with 3x is equal to 12. What would my next step be? Huh? Divide both sides by what? 3. What would I get x equal to? Any questions there? That's easy, right? Okay, to do the one on the right, you're going to solve the exact same way until you get to the end. What would be the first thing you do over here? Subtract 4 from both sides. What would you be left with? 3x what? Squared is equal to what? 12. You're still trying to get your x squared by itself, so you would divide both sides by what? 3. Leaving x squared is equal to what? 4. Now, at this point, they're exactly the same, aren't they? Would everyone agree? The difference is this. Here we have x squared equal to, here we have what? X equal to. You don't want to know what x squared is equal to. You want to know what x is equal to. So at this point, you have one thing left to do, and that is take the square root of both sides. Now, remember when I told you that the x squared means there's going to be 2 answers? You guys remember that? There is still 2 answers. And in this case, it's a positive negative 2. What number could I square and get 4 as the answer? 2. But if you think about it, negative 2 times negative 2 is also a what? Positive 4. So there are 2 answers. So when you get these answers, they're always going to be what? Positive what? Negative. Now, the nice thing is this was a square root that came out even. You're going to get some that don't. For now, put it into your calculator, round it to the nearest hundredth, let's say, on the worksheet. Okay? But put what? Positive what? Negative. In review, just remember, this is asking this question. What number could I multiply times itself and get x as the answer? So right here, what number could I multiply times itself and get 4 as the answer? A positive 2 or a what? Okay? The only ones that come out even are what are called the perfect squares. 1's a perfect square. Square root of 1 is positive negative 1. Excuse me, square root of 4, positive negative 2. What's the next one? Square root of 9, positive negative 3, right? What's the next one? Square root of 16, positive negative 4. Whichever way, you have a button on your calculator that will do this for you. It won't say positive negative. I expect you to do that. Okay? Quick, write that down. We have one more thing to talk about. So you guys see that this is really pretty easy. The only difference is at the end you're going to do what? Take square root of both sides. What we're moving towards is we're going to have actually 2 more ways to solve equations. Quadratic equations, equations with an x squared. And then we're going to take a test on all the different ways.
What will that be?
Middle to end of next week. Because the last one we're going to do, I was going to make it into this week, but the last one we're going to do is going to be just a little harder, quadratic formula, so we'll do that for, start that Thursday and probably do that for Wednesday. We will at some point get into what is called imaginary numbers, but not now. So I'm going to talk to you about, because I think there's one in your assignment that's like this. want you guys to do, please put the phone up. If you ever get an answer that has a negative number underneath the square root sign, think about it. What number could you square and get a negative 9 as an answer? If you square negative 3, you end up getting a what? Positive 9. If you square positive 3, you end up getting a what? Positive 9. So there's no way to square anything and get a what? Negative 9. So if you get a negative number underneath the square root sign, not outside of it, but underneath it, for now, all I want you to write on there is the answer is an imaginary number. And we will get back into imaginary numbers in the future. But I do want you to recognize that you can't have a what underneath the square root sign and get a real number as an answer. You can't have a what? Negative. Okay, there will be one problem like that. On your assignment, I expect this to be documented out every single step. It is not a long assignment. You should get done by the end of the hour today. The next 2 assignments, I'm going to try to make like that. Because then when Wednesday, when we go into the quadratic formula, I would like to be able to spend a little more time on that. Okay? So disregard what the website says. I've changed my mind. We're not going to have a test on Friday. I'm going to add the quadratic formula to it.